and this is news analysis coming to you live on Politics and Business Television. Thank you for joining us. The top stories. Togo and Benin Republic owe Nigeria $14 million for electricity, FG revealed. The federal government, amid the struggle in the country, hikes passport fees to 50,000 naira and 100,000 naira. Dangote refinery reduces crude imports from the United States. Details coming up shortly. Electricity Regulatory Commission revealing that none of the 4 international bilateral customers being supplied by the power generation companies in the Nigerian electricity supply industry made payments against the cumulative invoice of $14.19 million issued by the market operator for services rendered in the first quarter of 2024. NEC added that no remittances were made by bilateral customers within the country against the cumulative invoice of 1.86 million naira issued to them by the market operators for services rendered in the first quarter of 2024. It, however, noted that some bilateral customers, both local and international customers, made payments during the quarter for outstanding market operator invoices from previous quarters. The Commission said it was expecting the market operator to invoke the provisions of the market rules to curtail what it called the payment indiscipline being exhibited by local and international bilateral customers. In May, it was reported that international consumers failed to remit about $51.26 million to Nigeria for electricity exported from Nigeria to power users in 2023. The federal government revealed this in the industry data showing the non-remittance rates with 5-year validity previously charged at 35,000 naira will now be 50,000 naira, while a 64-page passport booklet previously charged at 75,000 naira will be 100,000 naira. The NIS said though it regretted any inconvenience this increase might cause prospective applicants, it assured Nigerians of unwavering commitment to transparency and quality service delivery at all times. Now on business today, the Dangote Petroleum Refinery is reducing its importation of crude from the United States, taking more of Nigeria's oil for processing, a report by Bloomberg said. The report stated that the 650,000 naira refinery, the 650,000 refinery is set to import just over 4/5 of its feedstock from domestic sources in the third quarter. That compares with less than 3 quarters in the prior quarter, according to tanker tracking data from information from traders. It was also learned that oil prices were pressured last month on reports that the plant planned on reselling some of the U.S. barrels it previously purchased, underscoring the pivotal role Dangote already plays within Atlantic Basin petroleum markets. The refinery's effort to dial back overseas crude purchases potentially leave more U.S. export barrels competing for buyers elsewhere. The pivots could even gather pace in the coming months, it is reported earlier that the federal government will start selling crude in the local currency to Dangote from October 1st. It is not yet certain how much supply will be traded under the system, but if the 450,000 meant for local consumption is exhausted, the process could leave Dangote requiring hardly any overseas crude. You're watching news analysis live on Politics and Business TV. Still to come, the Federal Ministry of Education revealed that the federal government is working tirelessly to avert ASUU. Details after the break. Welcome back. Now let's forge ahead to education matters, where the Federal Ministry of Education on Wednesday said the federal government was working to avert another strike by the Academic Staff Union of Universities. Rising from its National Executive Council meeting held at the University of Ibadan last weekend, ASUU had given the federal government a 21-day ultimatum to meet its outstanding demands or lecturers will go on strike. On Wednesday at a press briefing at the Michael Okpara University of Agriculture, Abia State, ASUU President Professor Emmanuel Osodike insisted that lecturers will be forced to embark on another strike except the federal government met their demands before the expiration of the 21-day ultimatum. The Minister of Education, Professor Tahir Mamman, on June 26 invited ASUU for a meeting to deliberate on the lingering issues affecting universities and to avert the planned strike. The ASUU president, who spoke on the outcome of the meeting, said the agreement reached with the federal government had not been implemented. At the Wednesday press briefing in Abia State, Osodike highlighted the contentious issues to include emergency revitalization, fund of public universities, payment of outstanding end academic allowances and release of withheld salaries, promotion areas and third-party deductions of their members. Let's head on to politics, where the acting national chairman of the People's Democratic Party, Umaru Damagum, and the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, on Tuesday knocked Chief Edward Clark after the elder statesman accused both of colluding to destroy the party. According to media reports, at least 12 members of the National Working Committee of the PDP, led by Damagum, were allegedly collaborating with Wike to unseat the Rivers State Governor, Siminalayi Fubara. This, as it was learned, had split the opposition party's National Working Committee into two, as 3 other members opposed the move to remove Fubara. It was also learned that others allegedly involved in the plan to oust Fubara are the party's National Secretary, National Organizing Secretary, Deputy National Secretary, and 8 others. However, 3 members of the NWC, the National Legal Advisor, National Publicity Secretary, and National Financial Secretary, were reportedly against the reports. For months, governance in Rivers State has been nearly paralyzed due to the ongoing political feud between Wike and Fubara, both members of the PDP. The conflict had led to a division within the State House of Assembly, with one faction, led by Martin Amehule, aligning with ex-Governor Wike, while the other, led by Victor Okojumbo, remained loyal to the incumbent Fubara. Efforts by President Bola Tinubu and other elder statesmen in Rivers and across Nigeria to reconcile the two sides have been unsuccessful, as the factions engaged each other in legal battles in Port Harcourt and Abuja courts. Still, you are watching news analysis on Politics and Business Television. Join us shortly as we discuss today's topic: CBN officials' alleged generous offer and its economic implications. See you shortly. Thank you. Welcome back, and thank you for joining us. Now there's fire on the mountain as Central Bank of Nigeria Governor Cardoso and his deputies under scrutiny over alleged generous approvals just 14 months after the former governor Godwin Emefiele was suspended and faced ongoing prosecution for various financial crimes. The current leadership of the Apex Bank, led by Olayemi Michael Cardoso, may be entangled in its own web of breaches of official protocols and abuses of office, in a scenario reminiscent of the investigation led by Jim Obazi, a special investigator hired by the federal government to uncover Emefiele's activities while in office. Multiple credible sources within the bank have now raised serious allegations against Governor Cardoso and his 4 deputy governors. They are accused of grossly misusing their offices to enrich themselves at the expense of the institution and the nation. These allegations may have cast doubt on the administration's mission to reform the CBN and restore its integrity in the wake of the Emefiele saga, leading many to question the sincerity of Cardoso's promises of transparency and accountability just 1 year into his tenure. Among the most egregious allegations is the reported upgrade of the annual housing allowances for the governor and his deputies to nearly 1 billion naira each. Such an extravagant allocation is seen as indefensible, especially for the fact that the nation's economy is struggling amid widespread poverty. There are also allegations of non-competitive and secretive hiring practices under Governor Cardoso's leadership. Hundreds of CBN staff have reportedly been dismissed without due process under the guise of organizational restructuring, only to be replaced by new hires through covert means. Perhaps the most damning allegations is that Governor Cardoso and his deputies reportedly increased their allowances and benefits without the approval of the CBN board, which President Bola Tinubu had not yet constituted at the time these upgrades were implemented. In light of these serious allegations, many within the CBN have called for Governor Cardoso and his deputies to either confirm or deny the claims. The atmosphere at the bank is reportedly tense, with staff morale at all-time low, following the wave of dismissal and what some describe as a toxic management staff. Governor Cardoso, who has often portrayed himself as an enforcer of due process, now finds himself at the center of a storm that could have far-reaching implications for the CBN and the Nigerian economy as the public eagerly awaits its response. What a time to be Nigerian. Join us shortly as we discuss this with our guest today, Mr. Wale Joshua, a chartered accountant and a tax administrator. See you shortly. Guests, Mr. Wale Joshua, a chartered accountant and tax administrator, who will be analyzing our today's topic: CBN officials' alleged generous offer and its economic implications. Good afternoon to you, Mr. Wale Joshua.
Good afternoon.
So I'd like to start by asking, how worrisome is the allegation in the midst of widespread poverty and an economy that is suffocating?
I can't hear you well.
I said, how worrisome is this allegation in the midst of widespread poverty and an economy that is suffocating?
Well, allegation is not good for the image of any organization, be it public or private. If an allegation is placed on any organization, it's the onus of clearing it is on the organization. First on the organization, then it will be followed by the management of the public backlash of it. Going to what the economy, what the impact it has on the economy. we will all agree that Nigeria is passing through a difficult time and a very stringent financial time. But what I used to emphasize on is that there is an imbalance income distribution, which made income surplus surplusity with some few people, while many other Nigerians are suffering. So it's clear that there is a kind of surplusity within the hands of the leaders, whether through the national earnings or through the borrowings. But we have a lot of people within the poverty level. So the onus is on our leadership to channel the surplus fund to bringing people up to at least the middle class. If we can close the gap between the rich and the poor, there will be a judicious spending of our fund. So I believe that there are a lot of funds there to cover both the wants, the need, and the waste of our leaders. So that's why the scandal is rocking the leadership. And you agree with me that most of this fund, not that they don't pass through the approval process. What we are looking at is the value for money and the moral aspect of what they are spending. So if we pass it through the test of legal requirements, the processes may fulfill what we call the legal requirements. But talking about the moral requirements, the value for money and justification for those expenses, you will agree with me that it may not be the right time to spend much or to be enmeshed in any scandalous act by any government official. So having said that, it is wrong and it is not right for any organization to be enmeshed in scandal as of this period, most especially financial.
This is not just any organization. This is Central Bank of Nigeria, and you made mention of this particular bill passed through legal whatever. So it is approval. It is legal for CBN governor and his deputies to receive 1 billion naira as housing allowance every year.
When I mean legal, I don't mean that the money itself has passed through the test of legal requirements. But what I mean is that the expenses were approved, were spent, and nobody has raised an eyebrow. It has passed through the approval processes and has gotten the nod of every other person that's checked the record. So that's what I mean by it's legal and it has been approved. So ordinarily, the Salaries and Wages Commission ought to be the organization that will fix this, that will fix the allowances and remuneration of many of these organizations, but it's not so. So we should be looking at testing this within a court of law. Okay. But it's not real. It's not real for.
I'm with you.
So it's not real for any of us to expect that CBN will not pass through the wages and Salaries and Wages Commission to make sure that there is an approval for the directors, for the governor himself, and for the key officers. So did it pass through the Salaries and Wages Commission? Did it pass through the approval processes of the civil service commission? Did it pass through many other requirements of this? Then the major thing is that did it pass through the moral tests of this present economic situation of Nigeria? So those are the things that we may need to consider, and those are the things we need to further clarify with the Central Bank of Nigeria.
All right. So moving forward, as of last year, Godwin Emefiele was removed from office due to some thefts. Let me put it that way. So this and Cardoso was put in place to take care of all these things. And now we are seeing that Cardoso and even his deputies are involved in corruption and in diverting the nation's money. So is this a sign or an indication that corruption is back to CBN?
Well, when I look at corruption with many agencies and with what we have at hand in Nigeria, I will tell people that leaders are selected from the citizens. Leaders are selected from the followers. So whether we like it or not, we are selecting from who we are. So I believe that the system should be tailored towards building a resilient structure that will stand the test of corruption. Though we may not legislate for all policies or all events, but there should be a structure that will guide officers and leaders towards a corruptionless governance. This time around, we should look at making organizations separate their interests, making conflict of interest a difficult one to pull through within any system. What I'm seeing is conflict of interest. When the CBN governor and its deputy and its directors, when they meet people of class and caliber, it is not expected of them to want to covet whatsoever wealth they display. It's expected of them to want to live the kind of ostentatious life that they meet people they meet per day. People they meet per day displays.
Able reason to divert the nation's funds, so you can live up to the taste of people you meet.
It is not a justified reason, but it should pass through all legal proceedings. That's why we have many other things that should guide what public officers should do. Are they expected to board first class? If you are boarding first class with a businessman, you need to discuss affairs with. You need to pass that buck to the business person. You need to pass that buck to whoever you are meeting within the flight period. Or you board economy while you expect that we should meet at a neutral place after the flight. So those are the events. If there is any law binding or governing what the public officers should do, I believe that this law will have stipulated that, see, you don't board first class, or you will be regulated in your conduct with either businessmen, with either other leaders of same caliber or any other person. There should have been a guideline to what we have at hand. If there is no guideline, we have surplusity and we have funds to play around with. It's very possible that personal interest will override the public interest. So how do we now determine what is public interest, what is good in the interest of the public? How do we determine what is bad in the interest of the public? So what you consider good may not be morally upright for me. What I consider as morally upright may not be morally upright for you, except it's now subjected to legal.
Out of curiosity, let me ask, who checkmates the excesses and financial abuse by officials of the CBN?
Well, we have the the Bureau of Public Conduct. We have that, and we have the Civil Service, the Civil Service Board. We have the Civil Service Council, which checkmates this. We have many other regulations that seeks to guide what the conduct of public officers may be, but above all, we have the National Assembly, who has the power of oversight on any of these organizations. So we have the House of Representative Committee, and we have the Senate Committee that can oversight on whatsoever is being done by the directorate of the CBN. So there are many organizations that can put a checkmate to whatsoever is being done by the directors, depending on whatsoever action they put on. Now we are talking about their allowances. We have many other things that may crop up later, except we are talking about events, which that events may take any twist at any time. So if events take twists, who then oversight? It will be the question of what offense or what act has been violated. So we have many oversight agencies, and we have many we have two arms of the National Assembly oversighting on the Central Bank of Nigeria.
And let me also ask, does the CBN governor have the power to hire and fire, considering the wave of secret hiring and firing that's happening in this Cardoso's tenure?
Yes. The CBN governor sits on the board of the central bank. So by an extension, it determines what happens within the central bank of
Only
Nigeria.
him as a single individual determines what happens.
He must have been subjected to board approvals, not single-handedly.
Oh, so this hiring and firing of staff doesn't have anything to do with the National Assembly, doesn't have anything to do with other organs or other arms of government, just the CBN and his deputies, the governor and his deputies, and the governor and his board members.
It depends on who has the power, who has the hiring power. Whatsoever happens within the board that affect the senior staff, the senior management of the CBN, and whatsoever happens within the public service cadre will be affected by the Public Service Commission of Nigeria. So that's it.
Okay, so what is the implication of this alleged gross corruption on foreign investments? Are you with me? Mr. Joshua? Alright, it seems Mr. Joshua has lost network with us, so maybe we'll connect him back in some hours to come. Thank you very much for joining us at this time. I am Idris Amina. Bye for now.